The road to the farm felt like it went on forever, a single ribbon of dirt that swallowed our headlights and hummed under the tires. I sat in the passenger seat with my phone face down on my thigh, pretending that made me stronger. The screen buzzed twice, paused, buzzed again. Every time it vibrated, I pictured Danny's name lighting up with another apology, another please just talk to me, another I was drunk. It meant nothing. I had deleted the last thread at a gas station outside town, told myself that was the last time I would read sorry with a period and not feel anything. My chest had other plans. "Want me to put your phone in the trunk?" said Jenna from the back, her voice soft in that teasing way she used when she knew I was trying too hard to look calm. "I'm good," I said. "It's off." "It's not off," said Bree. She drove with one hand at the top of the wheel, nails neon under the dash glow. I heard it. Twice, like a bee in a jar. I turned the ringer off. "That's not off," said Bree, grinning. "That's pretending." Mia leaned forward between the front seats, chin on the headrest. "You sure you want to do this?" she asked. "We can hit the house party on Maple. Fewer cornfields, fewer X's." "I'm not hiding," I said. "Besides, we already did the costumes. I'm not letting this much eyeliner die in my sink." We laughed. It came out too big and too loud, like opening a valve, pressure releasing. Somewhere in the dark, the headlights washed over rows of corn that rushed past and swallowed us again. Every stalk looked like a person with their head bowed, shoulder to shoulder forever. The forest beyond looked like a wall built to keep in something bigger than us. Jenna touched my arm. "If he tries anything, I'll body him. I do not care if he benched 2 plates once in high school. I'm a wall of grudge. He's not going to try anything," I said. "He's going to say sorry a lot because he kissed another girl and now he wants me to smooth his conscience for him." The phone buzzed again. I slid my thumb over the screen without lifting it. "Danny," the preview read, "I deserve it. Say what you want. Just please let me talk." Another bubble appeared before I could flip it back. "I'm at the barn. I'm staying away unless you say I can come over. Please, Ash." "Be in a jar," Bree sang. "Give me your phone," Mia said, already reaching. "No," I said, laughing, and tucked it under my thigh. "Boundaries." The turn came up fast, a hanging chain of orange bulbs over the entrance, and a sign that probably said something about pumpkins in the daytime. Tonight it said nothing, just flickered and jerked in the breeze. Bree swung the car onto the rutted lane, straddling the middle, tires skidding in the soft dirt. The barn showed itself a minute later, hulking and black with a mouth of light. Music thumped from inside, low enough to feel through the car doors, high enough to spill out as laughter, shouts, callbacks. Costumed bodies moved through the light at the barn opening. String lights looped from fence posts to the roof, sagging with clipped paper bats. Cars packed every flat stretch, some halfway into the corn, some crooked at the fence. We rolled into a sliver of space behind a battered pickup with a skeleton in the bed and a cooler wedged between milk crates. Bree killed the engine. The sudden quiet made the barn feel even bigger, like an animal breathing. I checked my lipstick in the visor mirror. My vampire collar stood just right, white against the black dress, and fishnets, plastic fangs tucked in my pocket for later, when the dancing started to sweat off our makeup. Jenna tugged her witch hat low. Mia smoothed the front of her little devil costume and made tiny horns at her temples with her fingers. Bree fixed her cat ears and smudged her eyeliner proudly. "Do we look like girls who came to forget boys?" Jenna asked. "We look like girls who came to dance," Mia said. "We look like girls who will push a boy into a mud puddle if he tries to talk while we're having fun," Bree said. "That's oddly specific," I said. "I have goals." We stepped out in the air that smelled like cold leaves and diesel. Someone screamed in laughter near the doors. Someone else sang 2 lines of a song in a bad howl. The beat rolled through us, wove through the corn, slid over the cars. We locked the doors, tucked keys into pockets, and paused as the corn swayed on the far side of the clearing with a sound like whispering. "Love that," Jenna said. "Nature." We reached the barn door and got swallowed by the heat and light. It was perfect. Hay bales, stacked along the edges with plaid blankets thrown over them, a long table with plastic cups, a punch bowl that glowed red under a lamp, 2 tubs of beer sinking into ice water, cobwebs and fake crows on rafters, a fog machine puffing every few seconds to make the string lights look like stars. A DJ with a wolf mask behind a folding table, stacked with shattered speakers. People crowded everywhere. Cheerleaders with zombie faces. A knight whose armor was clearly foam but perfectly painted. 3 pirates who had clearly coordinated for weeks. A girl with a glassy mermaid tail who kept flipping it in a corner and shrieking that she could not move to the beat. The air smelled like cinnamon and spilled beer, sweat and sweet hay. Someone shouted my name, and for a second my stomach fell, but it was just Tyler from our sociology class, dressed as a scarecrow, burlap mask pushed up and straw sticking from his sleeves. He hugged each of us and whispered to me, "You look like you could murder a man with a kiss," then saw my face and winced. "Too soon." "Way too soon," I said, but I smiled. He slid away to the dance floor like a stalk of wheat on wheels. The phone buzzed again. I didn't look. We got drinks. We got told we were beautiful. We got told we were the ones who would save the party. And I let the music thread through my hips and unspool the tight knot in my ribs for a while. The barn swallowed me in flashes. Mia looping an arm around my waist and throwing back her head to laugh at something I missed. Jenna dancing with a cowboy who did not see the warning in her grin. Bree coaxing the mermaid to the edge of the tail and getting her to bounce in place, victorious. I felt him before I saw him. That is not magic or fate, just the way a room changes when the thing you are trying not to think about steps into it. Danny's friends moved at the far side near the hay bales. Someone cleared a space, and he was there, face bare, clowning a little for his guys, hoodie under a leather jacket with fake blood across the sleeve. He saw me. I saw him see me. It passed between us faster than breath. He did not move my way. Good. I looked away before I could read the apology already forming on his mouth. "Shots!" yelled someone. The room answered. A burst of bodies crowded the table. I let myself get carried by it. Plastic cups passed overhead. I lifted one, clinked it to the girls, and knocked it back. It went down hot and too sweet. For a second, everything fuzzed at the edges, warm and bright. The barn door blew open with a crack of wind. Heads turned. A figure filled the doorway, huge, backlit by the outside bulbs, fog curling around boots. The music dipped. The figure stepped inside. Someone whooped. The whole place turned as if pulled by a string. He was enormous, shoulders like a refrigerator, chest packed into a worn leather vest with straps across it, fur bristling from the seams. Not Halloween store fur. Not a fuzzy one, see. This looked like a pelt skinned from something that had been alive. Even the way it sat at the seams made my eyes skitter. He wore a wolf head that covered his own, articulated jaws that clicked when he turned, ears torn and scarred like a dog that had seen too many fights. The snout looked wet. Teeth were yellowed and uneven, not costume clean. Claws curved from gloves that matched a pelt. His jeans were shredded at the thighs in a way that did not read as urban decay, more like he had fought a hedge and won. For 3 seconds, the whole party stared, then it exploded. People screamed in delight, lifted phones, shouted compliments. Dog soldiers, someone yelled. Dude, where'd you rent that? The guy stopped near the center of the barn and lifted both clawed hands high like a wrestler before a ring. He tipped his head back, jaws opening wide. A howl ripped out, so deep I felt it through the floor. A cheer rolled back over him. He reached up, found a latch at the jaw, and pulled the head free. The guy underneath was flushed and grinning, hair plastered to his forehead with sweat. He had to be 6'5" at least, maybe taller, a thick neck, thick forearms. Happy Halloween, he shouted, voice breaking. He lifted the head high like a trophy. Someone shoved a beer into his hand. He chugged, and foam dripped down the pelt over his chest. He shook hands, hugged girls, bumped knuckles, let strangers touch the pelt. Realest costume I've ever seen, Tyler said, right at my ear like the room had shrunk. You good, Ash? I'm fine, I said. That howl was something. They probably put a speaker in there, he said, but his eyes were still on the guy, who had propped the head on a bale and was soaking up worship. The phone buzzed. I looked. Danny, I'm staying by the side door. If you want to talk, just for a minute, I'll be there. No pressure. I am so sorry. I'll go if you want me gone. Jenna saw me read it and flicked her eyes toward the side of the barn. You want backup? She asked. I want air, I said. Backup and air are a 2-for-1, Jenna said, but the floor ate her as the song changed and she dove back in. Mia mouthed, You okay? I nodded. I drifted along the wall, past a boy in a plague doctor mask who kept pecking people with the beak, past a kissing vampire couple who needed to negotiate fang placement, past the guy in the wolf pelt holding court. He locked eyes with me when I passed. His grin was lazy and a little tired. He lifted the wolf head for me to admire. I gave him a thumbs up and kept moving. The side door felt like stepping out of a mouth. Cold air kissed my face and slid under the collar of my dress. The field stretched wide and black. The corn made its whispering. The forest loomed like a held breath. A string of bulbs ran along the fence, humming. A few couples stood out there, one smoking, another arguing in low voices, a third making out in the shadow of a tractor tire, like they were the only two humans left on Earth. Danny stood with his hands in his jacket pockets and his head tilted back to look at the sky. He turned slow when he heard the door. His smile was small, careful. He wore the stupid leather jacket I always told him made him look like he was trying to join a band that would never call him back. Under it, a tee from a thrift store with a faded tiger. His hair was rumpled, like he had spent half an hour in a car mirror trying to make it look effortless. Hey, he said. Hey, thanks for coming out, he said. I wasn't sure if you would. I almost didn't, I said. I almost caught a movie with my bed and a pint of chocolate ice cream. That would have been valid, he said. I'm sorry. I know, I said. I did not let anything show on my face. You said. He exhaled. It left him like he had been holding it since junior year. I'm not going to make excuses, he said. I could say I was drunk. I could say I thought we were on a break because we fought. I could say all kinds of garbage. I kissed her. It was stupid, and I hated it the second I did it, and I hate that it lives in your head now. I hate that I put it there. You put it there, I said. I did, he said, nodding. I'd take it back if I could. I'll do anything you want me to. If that means I leave you alone forever, I'll do it. If that means I keep showing up and proving I'm worth your time, I'll do that too. I just wanted to say it without a screen in the way. He looked older when he said it. Not by years, by honesty. It pressed at something inside me that had wanted to slam the door and throw the bolt. The music behind us leaked around the barn corner and fell flat in the field. Laughter rose and broke like a wave. I looked at the corn. Something moved a few rows in, a ripple that traveled against the breeze. "You see that?" I asked. He turned. "Probably a drunk guy taking a leak," he said, lips quirking. The ripple came again, closer. A shape between rows, not tall at first, not tall at all, moving low like a dog slips through grass. The hair on my arms prickled. I pushed my hands into my pockets and felt the cheap plastic of the fangs. I curled my fingers around them like a talisman. "Hey man," Danny called, voice light, like he did not want to look uncool. "We're having a private conversation. Go scare someone else." The shape kept coming. The whisper went quiet. The only sound was the low thrum of the bulbs and the bass line bleeding through wood. The thing reached the edge of the rows and stopped, half in shadow, half lit. It crouched so low, its hands touched dirt. I saw claws dragging through the loose soil. I saw shoulders that were too wide for the waist under them, a head that did not tilt like a man's, eyes set forward and catching light in a way that made them glow without looking like glass. The breath out of it came heavy and wet. The smell rode ahead, hot and rank, like the inside of a kennel left too long. "Dude," Danny said, stepping forward a little. "Seriously, not funny." It shifted its weight, somehow flatter and bigger all at once. My throat tightened. My mouth tried to say his name and caught on it. Danny held out a hand like you would to stop a friend in a game. "You got your laugh," he said. "Go." The thing crept one pace closer. The corn behind it bowed and rose in a slow wave. The string bulbs trembled on their wire. My pulse found a high, tight rhythm that made the ground look like water. "Okay, I'm done," Danny said, jaw hardening. He took another step, hand up, palm out. "Knock it off." He reached to shove. The thing moved, like it had been waiting for that exact motion, like the whole world had paused to cue this beat and was relieved it finally arrived. It came up from the crouch on a spring of muscle and tendon. A face that was wrong rushed across the light, mouth yawning wide, teeth not costume simulated, but wet and serrated and built for tearing. It closed around his wrist with a sound like sticks snapping under a boot. Danny screamed, high and full, a sound I have never heard from him, a sound I never wanted to hear from anybody. The thing shook its head once, and the scream cut short on a gasp. His hand, still wrapped in the jacket sleeve, separated from his arm clean, as if the air had been a blade. It hit the dirt with a soft thump and rolled palm up. I did not think. I did not decide. I ran. I ran with every nerve firing, my feet slipping and catching in the soft ruts by the barn. I heard Danny's voice behind me, not a word, just raw sound that tore into the night and kept tearing. It changed shape as the thing pulled him, dragged across dirt, into the dark between rows. Corn swallowed his voice, the way the barn had swallowed us, whole and cheerful and uncaring. I hit the door with my shoulder hard enough to bruise and stumbled inside into light and heat and the next song already climbing. I turned around to go back out, to grab someone, to pull anything heavy, to be something other than a girl who had run, and my voice banged off the roof before I found words. "Help!" I shouted, but the music aided. I climbed a bale, cupped my hands, and screamed, "Help! Somebody!" Tyler turned first, then Jenna's hat flashed, then Mia's horns. Faces tipped toward me in little pockets, trying to decide if I was part of a bit. I jumped down and shouldered through bodies, grabbed the DJ's table edge, and killed the slider. Sound cut to a ghost of itself. The room winced. I heard my own breath shiver. "Something's wrong," I said, voice shaking. "Outside, Danny. I think somebody attacked him. I think he's hurt bad." A boy near the door laughed and lifted his cup. "Classic Danny," he said. "Dramatic as hell." "I'm not joking," I said. "I'm not messing with you. There's somebody out there in a costume or something." He bit Danny's hand off. "I saw it. I saw it." It wasn't a prank. It wasn't a mask. It one of you. We need to call someone, and we need to leave. The room wobbled between reactions, humor stretching thin. Mia came to me fast and put her hands on my shoulders. "Hey," she said. "Ash, breathe." "I am breathing," I snapped, and hated how it sounded. I swallowed and tried again. "Please, listen. We need to go. Right now." The big guy in the wolf pelt lifted his head from where a girl was painting fake blood on the fur. "I can check it out," he said. "Probably my buddy Mark screwing around. He does not know when to quit." "No," I said. "Don't go out there." "Relax," he said, amused. "It's a party. We're supposed to get scared." Mia squeezed my shoulder. "Call," she said to Bree. "Call 911. Before Bree could fish out her phone, the barn went dark. Not dim, not flicker. The string lights blinked out. The DJ table lost power with a rattling hum. The fog machine sighed and died. 100 breaths drew in at once. The door roared open. Cold slid across the floor like water. Something hit the boards near the threshold and rolled. It knocked into the base of the haystack and settled against my boot. It was a head. Not the wolf head from the costume. That lay on a bale, empty eyes facing the rafters. This was a boy's head with hair plastered to his brow in wet strings. His mouth sagged open like he was about to start a laugh and forgot how. For the time it took to blink, nobody moved. Just the sound of a bottle tipping over and rolling across wood, knocking twice into someone's ankle. Somewhere behind the door, low and patient, a shape waited. I felt its weighting slide along my skin like a cold finger. It stepped into the dim, into the thin spill of outside bulbs. Blood matted fur along its chest and arms. It panted slow, a thread of spit hanging from its lip and catching the light. Its eyes were wrong in every way that mattered. They were not pretending to be human. They were not pretending anything. It looked at us like we were objects that made sounds and smells, and it was interested in both. The scream came late. It was like everyone's brain needed a full second to believe what they were seeing. Then the sound hit, and the barn turned into a riot of motion. Cups flew. People slammed into one another trying to get to the side doors. The Dogman moved before any of us could process the shape of it. It lunged at the nearest person, a guy in a skeleton hoodie who didn't even have time to shout. The thing's arms swept across his chest and sent him backward into the hay bales like he'd been kicked by a horse. The sound it left him was more air than voice. Blood sprayed across the planks and the fake cobwebs. Someone shouted that it was a prank. Someone else shouted to turn the lights back on. Then the creature grabbed the table where the DJ setup sat, flipped it sideways, and sent the whole thing crashing into a group of dancers. That was when the last of the disbelief died. The air filled with screams. Mia yanked my arm. "We have to go." I couldn't move at first. My brain wanted to explain it, to make it something that made sense. The eyes caught light and burned yellow. Its fur looked slick with blood, not paint, not fake, real. It wasn't wearing anything human. It was just skin and filth and rage. "Move," Jenna shouted. She shoved me hard toward the side door. The crowd collapsed on itself. Everyone tried to go the same way. The floor slicked with beer and blood. People tripped and went down, and others stepped on them trying to climb over. The Dogman vaulted over the hay bales, hitting the ground in the middle of the chaos. It didn't move like anything I'd seen before. It moved like it was both animal and man, but faster than either should be. It caught a girl in a cat costume by the hair, lifted her like she was paper, and slashed once. The sound of her hitting the ground made my stomach turn. The smell followed, wet iron and heat. I hit the dirt outside with my knees, palms scraping gravel. Mia came after me. pulling Jenna by the wrist. Bree stumbled behind, crying but silent, like she didn't even realize tears were streaming down her face. The music had stopped, but the forest and the field were full of noise. People shouted names, car doors slammed, engines coughed and died. Headlights flicked on in bursts, cutting through the fog and smoke from the machines. "Get in a car." Someone screamed, get in, go." A truck started, roared, and then a shadow moved across its hood. The Dogman landed on the roof, claws raking metal, punched straight through the windshield, and dragged the driver out by his throat. The horn stuck and blared over the screaming. When it let go, the body flopped to the dirt, face half gone. It moved to the next car before I could breathe. 2 people locked inside beat on the glass, screaming at me to help. The thing sliced through the side window with one claw and reached in. I didn't watch the rest. I turned and ran. "Where's Bree?" I shouted. She was right behind me. Mia gasped. We spun and saw her near the barn, running toward us. The creature turned at the same time. It saw her. "Bree!" Jenna screamed. "Run!" Bree's mouth opened, but no sound came out. She ran, feet slipping in the mud. The Dogman was faster. It hit her from the side like a truck. She hit the ground once and didn't move again. The thing bent low, shoulders rolling, head jerking with a noise that sounded almost like eating. Jenna grabbed my arm again. "We can't stay here." We bolted into the cornfield. The stalks swallowed us instantly, brushing our faces, cutting our arms. The music of them moving was constant and disorienting. Behind us, the barn burned with sound, the panicked crowd, the roaring engine that refused to start, the tearing and screaming. Then it all blurred into one long sound, and then there was only breathing. Ours and something else's. Mia was a few steps ahead, her devil horns bobbing in the dark. "This way," she whispered. "Keep low." The rows stretched forever. I couldn't tell which way was out anymore. Every direction looked the same. Blackness and stalks and the pale flash of moonlight when the wind opened them. I tried to follow the sound of the road, but it came from everywhere and nowhere. A voice yelled somewhere close, "Help! Please, somebody." Then it broke off with a wet choke. The sound of corn snapping followed, heavy footfalls crunching through the dirt. It was in the field. We dropped low and crawled, the earth cold and damp against my hands. Mia's breathing was loud, ragged. Jenna's hand brushed mine. Her eyes were wide and shining. "It's playing with them," she whispered. She was right. Every few seconds we heard another sound, a scream, a cry for help, the thump of something heavy hitting the ground. It wasn't killing fast. It was hunting, picking the ones who ran first. I thought about Danny, about his face when he said he hated that he'd put that memory in my head. Now his voice was gone, and all that was left of him was the noise he made when it took him. I tried not to think about that. We reached a small clearing where the corn thinned. There was a rusted-out combine half buried in weeds, and beside it, a shack with its door half open. Old tools leaned against the wall, half rusted, half forgotten. "Get in," Mia whispered. We pushed inside. The air smelled of oil and old wood. I shut the door as quietly as I could and slid a shovel handle through the latch. It wasn't much, but it made me feel like we'd done something. The silence that followed wasn't real silence. The corn still whispered outside, but underneath it there was breathing that didn't belong to us. I pressed my ear to the boards. Something moved past the shack, slow, dragging one claw along the wood like it was tracing us. Jenna clamped her hand over her mouth. Tears streaked her cheeks. Mia pressed her back to the far wall, eyes fixed on the small gap in the door. The breathing stopped. Then came a sound so soft it barely existed, a sniffing noise, deep and rhythmic. It was smelling for us. The wood creaked as weight leaned against it. The door pushed in an inch, the handle bending slightly. The shovel handle held, but only just. I held my breath. Mia's lips moved silently, counting maybe, praying maybe. The thing stayed there for what felt like minutes. Then it moved off, slow again, back into the corn. We didn't speak until the sounds were gone. Mia looked at me. "It's gonna come back," she whispered. "Yeah," I said. "It knows we're here." Jenna sat down hard, shaking. "We can't wait. It'll smell us out." I scanned the shack. A few old tools hung from hooks, a can of oil, a busted lantern, and a coil of rope. On the shelf above the workbench sat 3 jugs of gas, maybe for the farm equipment. My hands started to shake, not from fear this time, from the idea forming. "Mia," I said, "how flammable do you think a cornfield is?" She blinked, confused. "Are you serious?" "If we can get it close enough," I said. "If we can light the field, maybe the fire will trap it or kill it. It's dry as hell out there." Jenna shook her head. "That'll kill us too." "Not if we run toward the road," I said. "If we light the far side, it'll chase the fire first." "We go opposite." The logic sounded insane, but solid in that moment. Nothing else made sense. There was no help coming. There was no signal. The cars were ruined. Mia's mouth trembled, but she nodded. "We do it fast, before it figures us out." We grabbed what we could, 1 gas jug each and the lantern's small fuel can. My hands were slick with sweat as I twisted the cap off. The smell hit sharp and chemical. I cracked the door open, a sliver. The cornfield waited, black and endless. The moon had climbed higher, throwing thin silver light over the rows. I couldn't see it, but I knew it was there, moving somewhere out there, listening. "We do it together," Mia said. 1 line each. "If it shows up, we don't freeze." "Right," I said. "We burn it." Jenna wiped her face, stood up straight, and whispered, "Let's end this thing." We stepped out into the corn. The stalks brushed our shoulders, tall and brittle. I could hear my pulse louder than my footsteps. Mia splashed a line of gas as she moved left. I went right, Jenna straight ahead. The air filled with the sharp tang of fuel. Something cracked behind us, heavy, closer than I wanted to believe. "Light it," Mia hissed. I flicked the lighter. The flame popped, weak, then strong. I dropped it into the trail of gas. The fire caught with a whoosh, crawling along the dirt and then leaping up the stalks. The field lit up like dry paper. The roar of it filled the night, a wall of heat and light. Somewhere inside that burning maze, something screamed. It wasn't human. The scream that came from the corn didn't sound like pain. It sounded like rage being peeled out of something ancient. The flames climbed fast, snapping up the stalks like they'd been waiting for this moment their whole lives. The fire lines spread in both directions, orange crawling into gold, lighting the faces of the 3 of us as we backed away. The smoke was already thick, burning my throat. We stumbled through the dirt, half blind, trying to keep low while the wind whipped ash around us. The heat roared in our ears. Somewhere inside that living fire, the Dogman howled again, louder than before. It was alive in the middle of it. "Run!" Mia shouted, coughing. We broke into a sprint, pushing through stalks that bent and cracked under the heat. The light turned everything red and black. Every shadow looked like claws reaching for us. I felt Jenna's hand grab mine once, then lose it again when she tripped. I turned to help her up, but the sound that came out of the smoke froze me. It was close. Too close. Mia screamed from somewhere ahead. "Ashley, move!" The thing came out of the smoke half on fire, half alive. The fur on its arms burned like torches. Skin underneath blistered, but not enough to stop it. Its mouth hung open, teeth blackened, but still sharp, still real. It was limping now, but every step it took shook the ground. Jenna was on her knees, trying to get up. I pulled her hand, and we stumbled toward the old combine, the one we'd seen earlier. The firelight painted the metal orange, and for a second I saw what looked like salvation. There was a small opening at the back where the engine block was half exposed. "In here," I shouted. We climbed up the side. Jenna slipped. I caught her arm, pulled her through. Mia ran toward us, coughing hard, her eyes wet from smoke. Behind her, the Dogman pushed through the corn like a plow, flames licking at its back. The heat made my vision ripple. I reached down to grab Mia's hand. "Come on." She jumped, caught the edge, and I pulled with everything I had. The creature was almost there. Its eyes glowed like two dying embers, focused on her. It lunged. Mia screamed as claws tore across her calf, but she made it inside. The three of us huddled in the dark belly of the machine. The air was thick with oil and rust. I could feel the whole thing shake when the Dogman hit it from outside. Metal groaned. The sound went straight into my teeth. "Gas," I said, grabbing one of the remaining jugs. "We end it here." Jenna stared at me, eyes wide. "You're crazy." "Maybe," I said, "but it's not dying from fire alone. We have to burn it in one shot." Mia nodded weakly, her leg bleeding. "Do it." I poured the rest of the gas over the floor, over the open vents, and around the entrance where it was clawing. Its claws punched through the metal once, twice, curling inches from my face. I could smell it, the rot, the burned fur, the blood. Jenna fumbled with the lighter. Her hands shook. The lid clicked once, twice, then flame bloomed. "Now," she said. I kicked the jug toward the opening. The Dogman's claw hooked it midair, and the instant it did, Jenna flicked the lighter and threw it. The world exploded. The blast ripped through the machine, throwing all of us backward. Fire sprayed across the opening like a living thing, engulfing the Dogman. It let out a howl so deep I felt it in my chest, more than I heard it. The light was unbearable. I covered my face and screamed without sound. Metal shrieked. The roof buckled. The heat rolled through every inch of the air. Then there was silence again. Just the fire crackling and the sound of corn collapsing under it. I dragged myself out through the side, coughing, skin blistered on my arms. The field was a sea of flame now. The barn in the distance was gone, nothing left but a skeleton of wood burning against the black sky. Jenna crawled out beside me, half her hair singed off, eyes glassy. Mia followed, limping, holding her leg. We stood there, the three of us, covered in soot and blood, watching the flames consume the world around us. Something moved in the fire. For a second, I thought it was just smoke playing tricks. Then I saw it again, stumbling through the light, burning from head to toe. The Dogman still walked. It staggered, claws reaching, the last sound of it a rasp that could have been a growl or a breath. It took one more step and fell face first into the fire, vanishing under the orange. We didn't wait. We ran through the only direction that wasn't burning, back toward the road. The heat followed us like a tide. When we reached the edge of the field, sirens were already echoing in the distance. I turned back once, saw the sky behind us pulsing with light, red and gold, like a dying sun. Mia collapsed by the ditch, coughing, her voice hoarse. "No one's gonna believe this." I looked down at my hands, black with soot and blood. "They'll believe the fire," I said. "That's all they'll see." The sirens grew louder until they drowned everything else. 2 days later, the news anchors called it the Halloween barn fire tragedy. They said a group of college students started an accidental blaze after a generator malfunctioned. They said over 20 people died. The rest were missing. The camera showed the ashes, the twisted metal of the combine, and a field that looked like it had been erased. No one mentioned screams that came before the fire. No one mentioned the claw marks found carved into the doors, or the blood that didn't match any human samples. When they showed my face on TV, they called me one of the lucky survivors. I watched the segment once and turned it off halfway through. The reflection in the dark screen looked like someone else entirely. At night, I still hear it, somewhere behind the trees near my apartment. That slow, wet breathing, like it's waiting for me to come outside and talk. Sometimes, when the wind hits the cornfields outside town just right, I swear I can hear it again, howling under the sound of the fire. And every time I do, I remember Danny's voice calling my name, and I pray it's only the wind. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to Descent into the Unknown for more horror content. If you have any real cryptid encounters, or you're a horror writer wanting to share your stories, please feel free to email me in the description anytime.